Hello YouTube, and welcome to my Fire Emblem The Binding Blade map ranking video. Anyways, I'm going to get right in really quickly. I'm joined by Seth. He's just going to say quick words after pretty much every map. It is worth noting that I actually am going to include the Sakai maps in the Western Isles B route in this. It is worth also knowing that all my rankings are based on normal mode, and my experience with the Sakai is very, very, very limited. Mostly just using FE Builder to get approximately the same unit levels that I had when I went to Elibe, and then playing those maps in that very isolated setting. And Western Isles B route maps are based entirely off of what I remember and re-looking them up. So I have not replayed those recently. It's based almost entirely off the memory for those. The Sakai maps and the Western Isles B route maps I don't have footage of, so you'll just see a picture of the map on the screen when we talk about them. For the other maps, you will see the gameplay from the Let's Play series on my channel. Woohoo! Anyways, with this map ranking, there's also technically a tier list. We'll show the tier list at the end. I will go through by saying the tiers as we go through. So anyways, let's begin. F tier maps. Number 38. Sakai Chapter 8T. Now, I'm gonna be honest, my experience with this map, again, it's very, very slim. But I mean, annoying reinforcements that are nomads with short bows with critical chance. That alone to me is enough to really bring this map down. Not only that, it's just not really interesting. It's mostly just flat terrain with a tiny little area where you start with a river and a bridge. It's just does nothing. The main combat is all on a flat plane. There's nothing besides the yurts when you're actually playing the combat. And the yurts are not enough to make this map interesting. Anyways, this is a Sakai map, so I'm not going to have Seth speak, so we're just going to move on right on to number 37. Sakai 20X. You know, before I actually played this map, I thought I'd play more like the Engage version of this map, which I don't think's that bad. Where you just have to kill all the hut bosses to stop reinforcements. Yeah, no, that's not how it works here. There's one tent that you actually need, and all the other ones, if you like kill or seize or whatever, spawns reinforcements at all the other tents or something like that. I can't remember, honestly. It's been a while since I played it in FE Builder. It's something obscene like that, though. It's just, holy cow, such a pain. Infinitely better in Fire Emblem Engage. Infinitely better. It sucks here. Again, another Sakai map, so I'm just gonna move on. Number 36, Sakai 20. You know, if this map wasn't Fog of War, I don't think it would be as obscene as it is. That combined with the bolting tomes, bolting siege tomes, whatever they are, they're extremely hard to get to, and by extremely hard to get to, I mean you can't get to them. They're in places where you can't kill without longbows. That makes it just so annoying. And the fact that this is a Fog of War really, really sucks. It's extremely hard to get all the chests without your thief just dying non-stop. At least in the bright side, you don't have to deal with like a super high avoid swordmaster on the throne. But holy cow, this map is not fun. I'm glad I didn't do it in the Let's Play. 20 Elibe is a bajillion times better, and I don't even think that's amazing. Anyways, 35 16X. Yep, we're finally to a map that isn't Sakai, and it is still a Gaiden map. The Pinnacle of Light. Oh my goodness, this map. Honestly, I thought 16 was bad. Now, obviously, I enjoyed it a lot more than I ever had before, so it's not an F tier. But this map, oh my god. This is, I believe, the first appearance of Berserk. Great. That's so much fun. Then just the Javelins of Light falling and damaging units is not fun. And this map's just boring to begin with. There's almost no promoted enemies, which means the enemies are boring to deal with. The only even remotely challenging enemies are all long-distance attackers as well, that you really don't have much way of dealing with. This map just isn't fun.
Yeah, it kind of seems like It seems to be pretty difficult, especially with the Berserk stave and stuff like that, because like that, quite a bit of our strongest suits on the team.
Yeah, and see, it's not even necessarily the difficulty. See, I don't mind a tough Fire Emblem map. It's just when the only difficulty comes from bullcrap like Berserk staves is where it kind of becomes annoying. Especially since this is the first appearance of it, you may not come prepared.
It's like the Nether.
Like, obviously, there'll be maps later on that higher up with Berserk staves, but typically, that's after you've gotten used to Berserk staves. You probably have plenty of restore staves, and there's actually fun things about the maps that make the Berserk stave not stand out so much. But this map just stands out as siege tomes and Berserk staves. That's all, and the bullcrap gimmick of the light falling down. That's all I remember of this map, which makes it bad. Number 34, Chapter 14. Now, obviously, I kind of defended this map a bit in the Let's Play by saying it's not the worst map in the game. And you know what? It's not the worst map in the game because it isn't rated the worst. It is not rated 38. It is rated 34. Now, this map, it's just boring. It's Fog of War, which I don't think inherently is a bad thing if it's used well. It isn't here. It's a desert, which means you have no mobility. And there's desert items, and if you want to get in chapter, you have to keep a magic user, a squishy, like really weak magic user alive. So this essentially just becomes an escort mission, but combined with the fact that it's Fog of War in desert just makes it such a slog. I don't think this is the worst map we played, obviously. I think 16X is better. That being said, I was expecting to hate Chapter 16 a lot more than I ended up hating it on the playthrough, so I expected to have that lower than this map, but you know what? It isn't, because I like that map more than this one. This just is boring. I don't like the hidden items in deserts. I don't like that. I'm glad that games like Engage have kind of ditched that, because I don't think
Was
it's
Arcadia
fun.
the one with, or one of the ones with the sandstorm?
Yep, it was the
Or was that
sandstorm.
one?
It was the sandstorm one, yep.
Oh.
Yeah, with all the wyverns jump scaring you out of nowhere. Yeah, it's not an awful map, but it's definitely one of the worst in this game. It's definitely as F tier as they can get in this game. D tier. Yep, we're moving up a tier. Number 33. Chapter 8. Yeah, I don't think anyone was really expecting me to put this map this low, but holy cow, it just isn't good. It's just, you just go in a circle. You go in a circle, go into walls. Like, this map isn't remotely hard, it's just painfully annoying. It's a pain in the ass, it's so slow. Oh my goodness. It has no gimmicks. It has literally nothing special about it by the fact that you just have to go all the way around. I think what really hurts this map is that, while I don't love Project Ember, it does do one thing that's amazing. It adds a damn door right above where Lilina is, so your users can get there faster. And also combined with the fact that all the recruits you get this chapter are either Lilina, who starts level 1 and, well, she can become good, doesn't start good, or the trio of trash, like, oh god. Just not good. This map is not good. It's just not fun.
At least it did give us Lilina, though.
That's the one good thing. Number 32, 12X. You probably weren't expecting me to put this map so low, but again, I just don't find this map interesting. The Fog of War isn't used in a fun way, and the problem is, like, in a map like this, what's supposed to make you play fast and prevent you from turtling is the chests. But there's one good chest item, and it's the very top of the map where thieves aren't going to go. That's the one chest item worth getting, which means there's no really point to hurry, like the other Fog of War maps. Because Chapter 9 in 76K, they use Fog of War in a way to hinder what you're saying, but you still need to go fast or else you're going to lose stuff, but you can't see where you're going. This map, you can't see where you're going, but there's no real reason to be going. And the boss is just really annoying in this map as well. Like,
was this one of the cave ones?
Yep. And the poison just is not a fun gimmick either. It just isn't. I don't have anything fun to say on this map. Number 31, 21X. You know, the reason why this map's harder than the previous one is because you could just warp skip it.
This is the one where I said it looks like purple.
Yep. This map just sucks. That being said, the fact that you essentially don't even have to play it makes me not completely hate it, because you can just skip it. That being said, I probably should put this at the very, very bottom, honestly, because of all the traps and all that, but I haven't. I put it in D tier, because, again, warp skipping is kind of fun, if you do it right, and that is the one good thing I have to say about this map. Again, it doesn't use Fog of War in an interesting way. I mean, when we get to stuff like Chapter 19 Ilia, 9, and 17 Sakai, I'll talk about, like, how Fog of War isn't always awful, but it hasn't had a good show so far here, has it? Number 30, Chapter 23. You know, I just don't think this map's very interesting. It's really just the definition of a filler map. The wyverns are kind of... The fact that most of the enemies are wyverns is just annoying. The ballista are annoying. Like, the dragons by this point aren't that annoying just because you have a lot of dragon weapons. And even the status staves aren't really annoying at this point because you have restore staves. Like, this is just a boring map through and through. It's not really challenging. It's just kind of there. And, like...
Didn't you tell this map Burn in Hell?
Yeah. Because it's annoying. It's annoying as hell, Seth. I didn't say that on camera, but yeah, this is the Burn in Hell map because it's just so annoying. Because it's a bunch of wyverns and ballista. It's just not fun. That being said, at least there's like a lake in the middle to make it somewhat interesting. You can't go straight forward. And, you know, this map just doesn't have a lot going for it. Number 29. Ilia, Chapter 20X. You know, this map, we're kind of getting to the point where a lot of the maps at this point really are just fine. Like, there's nothing that wrong with this map. I mean, the status staves are a little annoying, but that's about it. Because, again, you have plenty of magic users that can use restore staves by this point, so... And you know to expect them at this point as well. And, like, having to break through the walls to get to the center is a fun enough idea, I guess. It's just kind of a map that's there. It's a little slow. It's a pace stopper. But again...
It exists.
It's nothing horrible. And that's why it's in D tier. Like, I wouldn't actively go out to play it.
Also, the walls look annoying to get past.
They are.
It kind of looks like a maze.
It is. Number 28. 8X! Yay! Another guided map. This one's just boring. There's really nothing here. It's just a linear map. There's no terrain. There's just nothing here. Like, it doesn't do anything really that wrong. It just doesn't do anything right. And, well, maybe it should be in C tier. Maybe it should. But I just find it boring, which puts it out of C tier. Not really much to say. It's just there.
I like the look of the map, though.
Number 27. 14X. Yeah. This map's this low? Yeah, because it's only fun if you rush the map. If you take it even remotely slow, it's just so boring and sloggy. If you play it fast, it can be a lot of fun, but even then, once you get down to the bottom center area, it's just the waiting game while you wait for platforms to actually return. Plus, all those siege tomes are really annoying. And like, if you bring your dancers are kind of squishy, and if Rutger actually gets hit, that's an L. It's just, this map, I wish they always kept at least one of the, I wish they always kept one way to get to the boss at all times. Just because that alone would probably move this up to C tier. It's like, it's not a terrible map, but like, the fact that you can like have to wait 15 turns to get to the boss and the siege tomes bring it down honestly a whole tier. Because I think the actual idea of this map is really fun. And there's a similar map in FE7 that I do think is better. I don't think it's amazing still, but I do think it is slightly better.
I think the platforms kind of remind me of that one level in Mario Party where it's like the levels disappear with like certain lighting colors and stuff like that. Or like the platforms disappear, not levels.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
And it like goes along to the music.
If I saw it, I'd remember it. C tier. Number 26, Chapter 16. You know, if it weren't for Douglas, this map would probably be an A tier. I'm gonna be completely honest. I just don't think it's fun. That being said, if you just like draw Douglas out, then like bring him in a circle like I did in the Let's Play, that makes this map infinitely more fun. As previously I would have said Douglas brought this map down to F tier, but you know what? With the way I did in the Let's Play, it actually made it quite fun. And I think having to steal the Delphi Shield in this game instead of it being given to you like normal is actually really fun, and I'm glad that I did that. I wish the chests on both sides were useful instead of really just the chests on the left. But again, the secret shop as well makes this an interesting map. This map is interesting. But again, Douglas is just really annoying. And the fact that Zeiss gets suicide on you, causing you not to get the good ending, is also kind of BS.
Yeah, this is the one where you have to have Milady alive.
Well, one of them, yeah. And just the whole beginning part with, like, how you have to, like, go through that little maze on the left side also kind of brings it down. But make it so that Douglas is easier to deal with, and change the left side to be easier to get through, and this map could very easily move up a ton, with very little changes. Hell, even Chapter 8 doesn't need a ton of changes to become better. Number 25, 18 Ilia. You know, this is kind of just another map that's there. There's nothing too objectively wrong with this map. And I think the actual map design itself is kind of fun. There's a lot of forests which make it really interesting. And the ballistas also keep you on edges. There's only 2 of them, so they're not like spamming you with ballistas. There's weak Pegasus Knights, so again, they're always trying to keep you on edge, but with nothing that's way too strong. The Wyverns at the beginning are also fun, where if you don't deal with them initially, they can come and get you later on, which I also think is really fun. You got villages to try and play fast to save as well, which is also really nice. And while the freezing over gimmick's not really anything that cool, it's something to make it exist, honestly. This is just kind of... This, to me, is the truly average map. I really don't have anything complaining to say about it.
I'm not exactly sure, because was this one the first one that had the snowstorm that blocked vision?
No, this had no Fog of War.
Oh.
Honestly, I think Fog of War may have actually made this map more fun.
That's what I was thinking.
Because I like Fog of War when it's used in a way that you have to, like, rush to get to, like, villages or something. And I also like Fog of War when the enemies, well, I don't care if they're slime enemies or not, or siege tomes or not, but if the enemies are weak, I don't mind Fog of War, which is one of the reasons why we'll get to Chapter 19 and why we haven't had it yet. But the enemies are weak enough here, and the villagers are fun enough to save, that this actually could have been a fun Fog of War map, I think. Plus, the unique terrain makes it that your units probably are also going to have high avoid as well. Like, there's almost no promoted enemies on this map. So, you know what? I don't think this map's bad. I think Fog of War could have made it interesting, though.
Yeah, I feel like it would have made it a lot more interesting.
I think Fog of War would have been more interesting than rivers freezing over, actually. Maybe have it not start as Fog of War, then become Fog of War. I think that could have been really interesting. And probably would have moved it up a bit.
Snowstorm comes through.
Number 24, Chapter 20, Ilia. You know, this map's honestly kind of fine. Maybe I shouldn't have put it this high. Maybe I should have. I don't know. I like how you actually have to save green units, and I also really like how stuff like the shops and the arena are out of the way, which means if you actually want to go get them, you can't turtle. And you also got the second room of enemies to the right, where if you don't deal with them early, they may come and flank you later on. So again, it's probably good to deal with them earlier. You have the 2 chest rooms, and you have multiple ways to get to the throne room. If you want to avoid that ballista on the left, you can go through the treasure room, then open that door, but then you're going to have to deal with another weaker ballista, but another ballista, and more enemies. There's just multiple ways to play this map, and if you really want to play it differently, you could technically, I guess, move some of your units to the very right as well. At least someone like Gonzalez who could move through mountains, your flyers, they could actually enter all the way over there without having to open a door at all. So I just like how there's options to play this map, and then since you have a turn limit because of the Gaiden, that also makes it more interesting if it's harder to turtle. The Berserk stave is a little annoying. I wish that wasn't there, but that's really my only major complaint. Again, there's nothing too special this map, but I definitely don't hate it.
It does make it easier to get to the boss.
Yeah, the boss himself is a little bit of a pain, but again, he's not terrible. Just make sure you have an armor slayer.
Who's the boss on this one again?
He's that armor knight in the bottom left.
Well, what was his name?
I can't remember. He was one of the Western Isles guys that left. I'll tell you. It was Rorts. Yeah.
Oh, it was one of those annoying guys.
Number 23. Endgame. Now, you may be like, whoa, you must really hate maps in this game if the endgame map is like halfway through in. No, actually.
Is that an Avengers reference?
No, it isn't. See, this isn't a full map. The actual final map is Chapter 24. And I just like how this map is like, if you play the game right, if you actually use Roy, this map is pathetically easy. But if you don't use Roy, this could be a harder map. It's kind of like the final map of Mystery the Emblem, where, is it like geniusly designed or anything? No. But it's not supposed to be. The proper final map is honestly 24. So, I'm just
In this one,
hey, if you played the game a certain way, this is gonna be easy. Here you go. I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
in this one, you get to bring out your inner pacifist.
Yeah. Pacifism is cringe, though. Maybe I shouldn't have had this map so high. Number 22. Chapter 17, Ilia. You know what? This is a breather map. That's exactly what this is. It's a breather map because you just had Chapter 16 and 16X. 16X being one of the worst maps ever, and then Chapter 16 having Douglas. And, well, the Ilia route's not very hard, so it's not gonna, like, ramp up immediately after this map and become hell. It's still nice to just have a little bit of a breather. You just get to relax. You get to train up your units a bit. And I think the water bridge is fun, because you can, if you want to get this map over with fast, you can just go to the south, and chances are you'll almost be done. You'll be probably almost done this map by the time the water bridge comes up, frankly. Or you can just relax, play it easy, and you know, some people would consider it boring, but I consider it a relaxing breather after the previous maps, which honestly makes it much higher. If this map was anywhere else in the game besides after Chapter 16 and 16X, I probably wouldn't have had it so high on my ranking, frankly.
I feel like I can kind of understand why some people might. I feel like I can kind of understand both ways with this, because people might not want to wait for like the sand bridge to come up. But yeah, I definitely agree that there are those points in games where it is nice to be able to relax after a very like intense moment.
And Thracia also does this. Its Chapter 7 and 8 are pretty easy, coming off of the Munster arc, which is... It's the Munster arc. If you haven't played Thracia, YouTube, play Thracia. Anyways, Number 21, Chapter 3. Yeah, our first early game map. You know, again, this is kind of like Chapter 8, where this map would be higher just by adding a door in the north, which is what Project Ember does. That's really the one thing that truly hurts this map, is you can't... This map introduces you, like, recruiting through villages, but you can't really use Lou at all on this map. What's the point of him? You really can't use him. So, like, that brings down what would otherwise probably be just a solid B tier map of, like, the main map is fun. I like how it's the first map that has chests. It's the first map with a village recruitment, which is very nice. It gives you the halberd, which I ironically did not use, I don't think, at all. I just hoarded it, no matter, even though it's like really useful. I just think this map's fine. Nothing too bad, nothing too amazing. I think it's right below B tier.
It kind of looks like the upper half of a crewmate, if I'm gonna be honest.
That's a little sus of you to say. B tier. Number 20. Chapter 24. Yeah, not too long after the endgame. You know, this map's not that hard either, honestly. In fact, a lot of the difficulty of this game truly ends with Chapter 22, with Chapter 23 just being annoying, and then Chapter 24 being pretty linear. But I just find this map really fun as you finally get to use all those legendary weapons that you've been hoarding the whole game. Yes, I know you've been hoarding them. It's not just me. You get to finally use all those weapons that you've been hoarding, and it's so satisfying just taking down dragons. Plus, having the story interspersed throughout this map just makes it stand out. I've always oddly loved this map. There's always been something about this map to me that stuck out. There was a point in time where I would have called this my favorite map in the game. Now, obviously, I'm not calling it my favorite map in the game. I'm calling it number 20. But still, I really like this map, actually.
I think this map definitely stuck out to me the most, mainly because it reminds me a lot of like Undertale's core and stuff like that, and like Hotland in that game. I also just like the story that's interspersed throughout it.
Yeah, it's really interesting as well. Especially if you like play FE7 beforehand, so you know a bit about the Scouring. To finally learn the full truth of the Scouring is honestly wild. And like the full power of the legendary weapons, it's just all really interesting. Number 19, 17 Sakai. Yeah, there's a Sakai map this high. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not very familiar with this map. I played it a bit, but I didn't fully play it, because I wanted to move on to the other maps. I'm gonna be honest. So, feel free to call me wrong in the comments down below, but I like this map. I think it uses Fog of War well. There's not a ton of strong of enemies. I mean, obviously you get the nomads, which are kind of annoying. But for the most part, like, the major challenge is get to the villages. But even then, like, if you only go to the north, you don't really have much of a challenge. So there's two ways you can approach it. You can approach it by trying to get both villages, and going to the south where you're going to be more likely to run into the difficulty enemies, or you can just go up north where it's nice and easy and simpler. I really like that option. And I think this is a good Fog of War map, as it uses villages to try and get you to split your army and rush, which is always nice. And there's also a lot of terrain on this map. I like terrain in Fog of War maps because it makes Fog of War maps easier. Honestly, again, I'm not too experienced with this map, but I do like it. Number 18, Chapter 10A. Our first Western Isles map, and my least favorite Western Isles map, actually. Believe it or not. This map, I think has a good introduction of what most players will encounter is their first ballista. It's well placed, there's only one of them. There's a lot of axe users, which is one of the game's thing of, here's a lot of axe users, please, for the love of God, get Roy to level 20, so that he's not complete dead weight in the late game. And you also get Gonzalez, and this is the stronger Gonzalez. So, yeah. I don't have much to say on this map, honestly. It's really simple. But again, Gonzalez and introduction to Ballista. I think it's really good for that.
Yeah, we get a lot of good characters in this one.
Only one. Geese is okay. Number 17. Sakai Chapter 19. I know, right? Holy cow. You were not expecting a Sakai map this high, were you? Well, this map is honestly really fun. But it has two issues. One, you can't use the lockpick to get into the front door. That's annoying. Two, the boss, Gel, is extremely annoying. Because he's a sword master. So he's really high crit and he's really hard to hit. That being said, besides that, this map is a blast. It plays a lot like a Thracia map, with you trying to get into a village, and it's honestly really fun. Again, I haven't played it a ton, but I really did enjoy my time with it. Number 16, 11B. And our second Western Isles map. This map is fun, especially if you split your army. That's what makes this fun. You got recruitable units on both sides, which is really nice. I think that really makes it unique. Again, you have a ballista. You have a couple of ballistas. They're weak. They're not terribly placed. One of them is pretty easy to kill as well, right in the south. And the green units to try and rescue also make this map more fresh. Again, it's been a long time since I played the B route of the Western Isles. I didn't play it recently, but I remember really enjoying this map. I think this map is definitely better than 10A. And, you know, it's just a fun map in general, and maybe next time I play Binding Blade, I'll have to take the B route, just so I can play this map again. Although, again, 10B is better, because we haven't had it yet. Number 15, the first map. It's a fine enough introduction map. I really enjoy it. It's a classic. Is it the best map ever? No. Just like Thracia, it gives you a ton of units all at the start. Unlike Thracia, though, there's not a lot of terrain to make this map interesting. Because that, to me, is what sets apart Thracia Chapter 1 and this one, is the terrain, where this one's mostly flat. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. This is the first map, and it introduces you to the game. It's mostly axe user, so Roy's not terrible here. And, you know, it's just a good time, and it's a great start to a really fun game. Plus, the village gives you money, which is always nice. You gonna say anything, Seth?
Oh. Definitely liked how this one wasn't like too difficult and stuff like that,
I mean,
but rather
it's the first map, it better not be difficult.
Yeah.
Although it is a pain in the butt in hard mode. Number 14, Chapter 12. This map's good. It's good. Nothing amazing, but it's good. The split army, you know what? No, I would call it great. I would actually call it a great map. You know what? Scratch that, YouTube. Scratch that. A tier. A tier. We're moving on to A tier right now. Which means I'm gonna have to change my graphic for the overall tier list. But we're changing this to A tier. It's actually A tier. This map is pretty fun. It's the split army. That's great. That's great. You got chests on both sides, which incentivizes you to either use another deployment slot on a thief or take a bunch of chest picks. Because there's decent items on both sides. You got Flux and Air Caliber on the left, which are nice magic tomes that you're going to want to have. Because you haven't had the ability to buy any Dark Tome yet, and Ray only comes with Nosferatu. And you don't want to waste all of that right away. Then the one on the right side, you got the Brave Bow, you got a promotional item, and a blue gem for money. That's nice, that's nice. And then this also really incentivizes you to rush between the turn limit for the guided map and the strong reinforcements that come from the south. Plus, it gives you your first dragon. Only one dragon doesn't move. You're used to fighting them as well as you got all the 1-2 ranges and even the 1-3 range sniper in the side area where you're either going to have to take their constant assault or you're going to have to kill them using your own 1-2 weapons. I think this map's really fun.
I like the look of this one, but I don't really like how maze-like it is. It kind of seems like it takes a bit too long to get done.
The left side definitely can take a while if you're having bad luck actually hitting the archers. I will say that. Okay, but now we're in A tier proper, what I originally was calling A tier before I started this video. Number 13, Chapter 9. Yep, a Fog of War map. I like this one. There's not a lot of BS in this map. There's no ballista, there's no siege tomes. Well, there's really nothing that's going to catch you too much by surprise. You got villages. If you incentivize you to play fast, you got that village in the south. You got a bunch of recruitable units. There are any recruits, which can be very annoying if you want to recruit them, but it can also be really fun and challenging. But if you don't actually recruit them, it's not that big a deal. Just make sure you're going the Ilya route and not the Sakai route. And then you also have the route split option in the north, which is really fun, where you gotta choose either between a killer bow or a restore stave, which is, useful. And really, this map it's not too complicated. I just really like it, and I think it's the first Fog of War map in Binding Blade, and I think it's a good example of what Fog of War can be. Is it brilliant? No. Is it good? I'd say so, yeah. Seth?
I'd say... Yeah, there's not really much for me to say on this one. It kind of reminds me of one of the previous maps. It had, like, the same color scheme to it and stuff like that.
Well, that's because it's a Western Isles map.
Yeah.
Number 12. Chapter 6. Now you may be like, whoa. Seriously? This map's this high? Yeah, because there's a bunch of different ways to play it. If you have chest keys and door keys, that means you can actually split your army and play this map well. You also just have 3 different routes that you can take to begin with. If you really want to be brave, you can split your army in 3, sending some down the center and then tiny little groups onto the sides. The reinforcements are fun. Essentially, you don't know what you're going to get. Life's a box of chocolates. Some rooms you don't want to open up, and you get punished for opening up. But if you want extra XP, you should open them up. I think that's fun. And, I just think this is an interesting map.
I think with this one, it looks to be pretty fun. Mainly because you can either go straight to the boss if you want to, or you can also go into the separate rooms. It kind of seems like it's more of a "it's what you want to do" sort of map.
Yeah, it's kind of a choose your own adventure, because you could also just skip all the chests entirely and just go literally right forward to the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually decent chest items here too. So if you don't know what rooms contain chests and what don't, you're gonna want to open up every door, because there's some actual banger ones. You get a killer axe, a ton of money, a silver lance. There's actually good stuff. There's good stuff here.
So ultimately, it's very rewarding.
Yeah. Obviously, I kind of turtle it in the Let's Play, but that's because I didn't want to use chest keys, and that's being overly cautious. Which isn't the funnest way to play the map, and I regret playing it like that, honestly. Number 11. Chapter 5. This is a fun map, because I like maps that give you a choice. There's 2 ways to play this map. You can either immediately go to the boss by opening up to the left, but you're going to immediately have an onslaught of enemies. You're immediately going to have a bunch of axe units, a couple of bow knights, a magic user. You're going to have a bunch immediately coming for you. Or you can go around, where you're not going to fight as many enemies all at once. You'll ultimately have to fight more enemies, but not as much, so it gives you more XP. You get the vendor, you get the village, all if you go to the north. But again, it's slower. You're going to have to deal with annoying forests to actually move through. It's really up to you. There's pros and cons of going both ways. To me, the biggest pro of going to the north, though, is the XP. But even then, if you go to the south, the enemies will start coming to you eventually, and you'll be able to actually chokehold point them a lot easier if you do the south using the castle. So, again, there's really pros to going both ways, and I really like that.
Kind of seems like a shorter one.
It is. Especially if you go to the left and just immediately seize. Number 10. Chapter 15. Yeah, I know, right? This map in A? You're probably like, whoa, seriously? Well, the Percival recruitment is, right off the bat, really fun. If you're not able to recruit Percival, if you don't have a dancer alive, that immediately adds a ton of challenge and interest to this map. It's like, oh my goodness. All of a sudden...
That in person was a pretty good unit.
All of a sudden, you're immediately being assaulted by a strong enemy. And that fight may actually make it harder to get the hammer in village as well, which already can be a difficult village to get if you don't play fast. And I think those 2 things alone just really make this map to me interesting. Like, obviously this is a simple map, but I really like that. I think that really adds to it. Plus, Lalena's relevant to recruit Garrett, and she's rarely relevant, which I appreciate. So I appreciate her actually doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Hammer and Stave is extremely useful as it means you can actually use the Binding Blade in Chapter 22. And Warp. You can use Warp and be able to repair it and get more Warp. Really good. Really good. I like that map. Number 9. Chapter 22. Now you'd be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This map? Yeah. First of all, it's essentially 2 maps in 1. The first map is actually opening up the switches, which I just think is fun. Especially in a game that's so seas map heavy, I think just having something where it's like, oh, we gotta go to 2 different spots can make it fun. There's no real major BS enemies either. There's a couple of status saves, but it's not like overwhelmingly annoying. And the more annoying ones come from the north as well as reinforcements. They're not gonna like move to impede you, which I think is really fun. And then the really cool thing though is actually opening the throne room. As well, it could be annoying of like, oh my goodness, there's so many enemies. If you lose here, that's really annoying. But it also is a map that incentivizes a more Iron Man-esque approach of, you've already gone through essentially an entire map. Do you really want to reset just to get Milady back, or are you just going to play through the death? Which I think is really interesting. It also makes you want to play careful with Roy, and again, also rewards you for having a strong Roy. If you have a strong Roy, the throne room is going to be easier because you're going to be able to throw Roy in with the Binding Blade, take out a couple of dragons, and it's going to make it easier. It rewards you for having Roy being built up. And I think that is good.
Was this the map that Milady died on?
That's why I mentioned Milady in particular.
Oh.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
We
no.
miss you, Milady.
If she didn't die in the throne room, I probably would have reset. But I like the throne room. I had essentially already played an entire map, so it's like, I don't want to reset. I want to just beat the map, which I like. I like maps that incentivize you to play fast and not to turtle. And again, this map splits your army off, so it's harder to turtle. And helps persuade you to do the Iron Man lifestyle while you're not like, oh, let me just reset. So I like the map. Number 8. Chapter 2. This is a simple map. But again, it teaches you more mechanics. It teaches you recruitment. It gives you an introduction to what forts are, what shops are, as well as what flyers can and can't do, as well as effective weapons. As well, and Merliness, and like the whole convoy thing, it teaches you all those mechanics without giant walls of text, which I really, really, really appreciate. And again, it reinforces visit villages because that armor slayer is extremely useful for killing the armored boss. And it also, again, gives an introduction to different unit types and the enemies and how to deal with it. And again, lance unit enemies that help enforce the weapon triangle. I think this map actually is really good at introducing a bunch of different concepts to the player. Especially because, like, this is the first Fire Emblem game that was made after Kaguya. This game brought in a whole bunch of new people that have a ton of new audiences, so I think it teaches a lot of these mechanics really well, and particularly this map.
And Merlinus was more of like a fatherly figure in this game than Elibe was to Roy.
That's because Elwood never appears.
Yeah.
Trust me, when we eventually do FE7 in like 5,000 years, Seth, you'll grow to like Elwood.
I don't think it's that I hate him. It's just that he didn't appear a lot.
Yeah. S tier. Number 7. Yeah. I'm putting a Fog of War map in S tier, YouTube. Chapter 19. Oh, yeah. I've always loved this map, and I really don't know why. It always keeps you on your toes. It's like it has siege tomes, it has flyers, and it has ballista, but none of them are strong. I don't think I've ever lost a unit to those 3 things on this map. I think I've lost them to the cavalry before, but I don't think I've ever lost them to the Pegasi, the ballista, or magic, because they're weak enough that they're like, oh crap, they're there, but like, they don't do much. And then you got a flyer on the boss, which actually makes archers useful. And then you got the village, like, you have to kind of like either use a flyer or kind of have a unit detour to get in the east. I just really enjoy this map. I don't have a lot to say. I can't really describe why I like this map so much, but I really do. I like how it keeps you on its toes. It uses the Fog of War just to keep you like, what's happening next, but the enemies are really weak. So I like this map a lot. Seth?
I feel like the fogginess might have like hindered people's view of it.
Yeah. See, because Fog War's not very popular. I think Fog War is... It's inherently flawed based on the fact that it doesn't hurt the enemies or hurt the player. But I think maps like this actually use it well, where you have a very tiny area to go. You have that little tiny canyon, and I think that's fun. I just find this map fun. Number 6, 21. Yeah, again, people are probably like, what? Seriously? But yeah, this is a big, epic map with a strict turn limit and tons of reinforcements. So like, if you turtle, sure, it'll be easier, but you may not actually, you may have to really rush the ending in order to actually beat it in the turn limit, like I did. And if you split your army, you may get overwhelmed. This is a difficult map, but it's just so big and epic, and honestly, I really enjoy it. And it's really fun trying to avoid the reinforcements as well. And then, of course, you got the secret shop as well, which is really like the let's make Roy nice and strong shop. And that's honestly such a fun map. I really enjoy it.
Were the Lycian army able to like climb the mountains and stuff like that?
Nope.
Or was that only certain characters?
Only certain classes, like Gonzalez can, the flyers could go over it. But the real issue is actually the deep thickets, because no unit can move into those except for flyers.
Huh.
So even going over the mountains isn't that useful. Number 5. Yeah, I know, I trashed this map when we actually played it, but it's actually really good. Chapter 4 is actually kind of good. Again, it always has you doing stuff. And again, it also is like, hey, use Roy, he has the rapier. You gotta kill those calves before Rutger and his gang come in to like overwhelm you. And you also got a bunch of fun recruitments where you have a green unit, then you have to keep her alive to recruit Rutger, one of the best units in the game. I think all that's really fun. Number 4, Chapter 10B. You know, obviously we didn't play this map on the Let's Play, but this map is literally 11A but worse. That's all it is. That's all I have to say. There's maze. There's actually more going on. Yeah, you're right. It is maze-like. And then you have Gonzalez as well to make it a little bit more complex than 11. Just visually. I think this map's more overwhelming than 11, which is one of the reasons why it's lower. But I still think that this map is a banger. That being said, it's worth noting that this is not equal to the A-Routes. There's no arena, and there's no vendor. Just the armory. And honestly, I believe most of the villages are the same, but I think a little bit of them are a little worse. That being said, you get a hero crest. If you visit all the villages, you get a hero crest. Which means you can get 3 heroes crests without a secret shop if you take the B route here in the game, instead of the 2 that I got in the Let's Play. Which is also really handy with this map. Number 3. Yeah, this damn map. This is stressful. You got a bunch of tight places to fight enemies like the bridge. You got reinforcements coming multiple places on the left. You have multiple ways to play this. You can either go to the north and then avoid all the tough enemies in the ballista in the south. But then you may have to deal with Percival. And the reinforcements start in the north first. And you can I believe it is possible to recruit Percival in this map. Now, there's not a lot of benefit for it, just because the next map is Chapter 14. But still, that's really fun, and this map just always keeps you on your toes. It always has different stuff going, and if you play stupid, you're gonna lose people. And I think the fights on the bridge are just a lot of fun.
Looks pretty straightforward.
It does. Which is why, when it actually is kind of challenging, it's a lot of fun. Number 2. Yeah, this is probably expected, YouTube. It's Chapter 7. This map is really where this game's like, whoa! It throws out all the stops. A bunch of villages, a bunch of enemies, a lot of terrain. So like, there's a lot of terrain going on this map. There's a lot happening. You gotta take advantage of it. And there's strong enemies. If you're not careful, you will lose a lot of units here. Then you also got your first arena, where if you really want to play risky, you can do that. And this is just a map where you want to split up your army and just go to all the different places. And then the reinforcements also help keep you on your guard at the end. Overall, it's a really fun map.
Looks to be a map that provides you with a decent amount of challenges, like not too much and not too little sort of thing, and it provides you with enough opportunities to explore.
Yeah. And finally, number 1. What do you expect, you two? Of course it's Chapter 11A. Of course it is. The map that has so dang much going on, but it's never really overwhelming. As you got a bunch of recruitment, then you have to use the characters you recruit to recruit other units. I love that. That's why Chapter 10B was so high, and that's why Chapter 4 was so high. Having to use recruits to recruit recruits. It's awesome. And you just got, like, all the stuff that happens in the center of the map. You just got a lot going on all over this map. It always keeps you on its toes. It's always a ton of fun. And honestly, this map's a banger.
It's not as maze-like as the other one, so it seems like it provides you with decent opportunities.
And you can also go right up to the north if you really want, because there's a cracked wall above the northern villages. So you can skip all the south to begin with. Although I wouldn't advise that, because it's going to be hard to recruit Klein if you do that. But it is very possible you can, in fact, do that. Overall, this is a fantastic map. I really enjoy this map. And, yeah. Well, YouTube, that's it for Binding Blade. Yeah. We're actually done with Binding Blade now, so, bye-bye. 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 And see you next time for What's Next. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.